I have 8 winter thriller books to talk to you about. These are great to read any time of the year, but specifically in the snowy, cold season. This is one of my favorite tropes. I really love it. I feel like it adds a lot to the story. But I've also found that there are a lot that I don't really love, so I'm going to tell you about 8 of my favorites. The first one is a blend of thriller, kind of mystery, and dystopian, and this is Moon of the Crusted Snow. This is following an Anishinaabe community who is preparing for the winter season, and then out of nowhere, all of their power is cut off. And they very quickly realize it is not just them, it's everybody. So they have people trying to invade their community because they are generally very well prepared, not for a season without power, but more prepared than a lot of the outside communities that rely more on things like grocery stores, shopping centers, things like that. They are more physically removed from everything, so the way that their community is run is more adaptable to something like this. They are dealing with all these outsiders coming in trying to make them feel bad for not helping them. They are trying to prioritize their own community and their own safety, but people are definitely trying to force their way in. It's very stressful because obviously they want to help who they can, but at the same time, when you don't know if the power is coming back at any point, you don't know if you're sacrificing one of your own for somebody else. There are a group of people that decide that they can't just sit around and wait and hope that the power comes back, so they take it upon themselves to go out and try to figure out what is going on. This one is completely isolated. There's no contact with the outside world. There is snow keeping them where they are. I feel like this one is a little more slow moving, but I think it has a lot of great discussions, and the snow and the weather very much are at the center of this story. Next up, I have An Unwanted Guest by Sherry Lapina. This one is a little bit of a standard mystery, but there's a lot going on. It's a lot of fun. We're following these people who went to this inn for a getaway, and then somebody turns up dead. There's a blizzard that happens that traps them in so they can't contact anybody for help, and this person has obviously been murdered, so people are on edge. And then someone else turns up dead, and it is clear that something malicious is going on. They don't know who to trust. They don't know when they're going to be able to get out. It's a lot of fun. Another one with a similar setup is One by One by Ruth Ware. I really love this one. I think if you go in expecting the mystery to be at the forefront of the story, it's a lot of fun. I found this one very tense, even though I think that there was some predictable stuff to it. I don't know, I just really liked the way that this was done. We are following a company group that goes to a weekend getaway to kind of figure out things with their business, and they get snowed in, and it is the company and 2 people that run everything. They cook things and help everybody out. And then somebody shows up dead. There's an avalanche that very much keeps them in the chalet. And the people kind of know each other, but they're still just work colleagues, so they really don't know who they can trust. I truly love this trope, and I think the addition of winter settings really elevates it for me, so I would recommend this one. Next up, I have The Silent Woods by Kimmy Cunningham Grant. I would say this is a literary mystery. We are following this father and daughter who live in the mountains. They don't have any connection with anybody else. They don't go to the town to get their supplies. Their neighbor does that for them, and we don't really know why they are living like this. But we do know that they can't leave. They can't contact anybody else, or things could go very wrong. They have somebody that every year before the winter season comes and brings them their supplies, but then that person doesn't show up, and they don't know why, because they don't have any electricity. They don't have any way to contact the outside world. They have to try to fend for themselves, and then there's a disappearance that happens, and the daughter really wants to know what is going on with that. Definitely slower paced, but I think exploring these relationships is very interesting. This one's very family focused and also super atmospheric. If you give me a thriller that has the getting picked off one by one trope, I am going to probably enjoy it. Shiver by Ali Reynolds. This is following a group of friends who used to all snowboard together, and they have drifted apart, but they are doing a reunion. These 5 friends show up, and they get there, and there's a note saying, you have to leave your phones in this box. And for some reason, they decide to do it, and then that box goes missing, and then somebody dies. All of them got this invitation, so nobody knows who has invited them here. We are learning about everything that happened in their past when they were all snowboarding, what led to them kind of separating as a friend group, and then watching them try to survive in this situation where somebody is clearly out to get them. They want the secrets of the past to be revealed, but the group does not want that. The Family Game by Catherine Steadman. This is following a woman who is meeting her fiance's family for the first time. They're very rich and they play these strange games together. So we are watching all of that, and we are also seeing her relationship with her future father-in-law because she's a writer and he gives her these tapes and says, I recorded this book that I want you to read that I have written. And she starts listening to it, and it seems like it's actually a real life confession. So she's trying to figure out what she should do about this, because if somebody has murdered someone and she knows about it, she should probably tell. And then also seeing her trying to survive these games that the family puts on. They are very intense. One involves Krampus, so she has to make a decision what she's willing to do to fit in with this family. It's very fun. The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. This is following a group of people who are chosen to go to this famous writer's house for her writing retreat. The winner is pretty much guaranteed to become a famous author after this. They are getting mentored by this extremely popular horror author who they all very clearly want to work with, both for personal reasons and to jumpstart their careers. Things start to get a little unhinged when the author says that they are going to have these super strict conditions that they have to adhere to, or they are going to be kicked out of the program. They only have 1 month to write their entire book, and they have these deadlines that they have to meet, or there are consequences. A snowstorm hits, and then one of the writers vanish. So we are watching everybody try to figure out what is going on. I think that the characters have very unhinged behaviors in this. It's a lot of fun. I have seen people kind of misunderstand people saying this is unhinged and thinking the entire plot is unhinged. I would say it's more of the characters. But seriously, this is so much fun, and I couldn't recommend it enough. And lastly, a classic, No Exit by Taylor Adams. This is following a woman who is leaving her college for a break, and her mom is really sick, so she is going to see her. And the snow gets really bad, so she ends up pulling over into this rest stop, and she sees that there is a little girl caged in the back of one of the vans. So obviously somebody that is here has kidnapped a child, and she is doing everything she can to help this kid get her out, but also stay safe because there's unhinged people in this rest stop with her. This one is so tense. Oh my gosh. My heart was beating so fast while reading this book. Very fast paced, very tense, absolutely incredible. One of my favorite winter thrillers. So here are my 8 recommendations for thriller books that I think you should read this winter season. If you've read any of these, I'd love to know your thoughts, and if you have any other recommendations, please leave them in the comments. If you've made it to the end and want to leave me an emoji to say you were here, you can leave me a snowman. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope to see you soon. Bye.